In my training, when I was getting into the advanced portions, that's when we started to do night and day terrain following missions, besides just basic bombing missions. And I vividly recall going out on my first night terrain following low level. We had flown the same route late that afternoon. So I knew the route, and of course the instructor pilot knew all of this just intimately. Went out and we had the same aircraft, absolutely same aircraft. All it did was a turnaround inspection after we came back in. I knew how much LOX we had on board. A-6 carried 2 liquid oxygen tanks back in the rear compartment, um, which was critical because that's also where we ducted a lot of bleed air from the A-6 J52 engines to the air conditioning and pressurization systems. So you're putting bleed air off a jet, off a turbine, right by liquid oxygen bottles. Real kaboom factor.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think almost full LOX bottles. We went out, flew the mission, and dropped some blue bombs at the range at Pendleton, Oregon that night. We got back. As we came in, started to shut down, went through everything. We realized that between the two of us, we had pretty much depleted 2 20-liter oxygen bottle or tanks because you're focused. And that was stood true all the rest of the time. You're at night, it's dark, you're relying on the other guy, which leads to a crew thing people should be aware of. We have to say in the A-6, it takes 2 to concur to descend. It takes 1 to climb. Either pilot, nav aren't comfortable, boom, we're out of there and get up to a more comfortable altitude. That was one. One of the things that was incredibly satisfying for us was satisfying slant dissatisfying. 1990, August 1990, we are just had embarked on USS Nimitz for an extended air wing cruise, and Iraq invades Kuwait. Uh-oh. Let me see. The Navy has a full up air wing on a carrier. We're ready to go. Oh, crap. The pilots are going, shit, I bid for trips next month on the airline. The rest are going, well, this is convenient, inconvenient. So we actually only half jokingly put somebody out on the air wing staff to see which way the sun was coming up in the morning. And we were out in the Pacific. Because if the sun was coming up over the stern, we were headed westbound, headed for the Gulf. If it was coming up over the bow, then we were still in Eastern Pacific waters. But our air wing was tasked with developing and testing the tactics that were used in Desert Storm. So every week we would get these taskings to, hey, we need you guys to go fly this profile, do this, drop that over at Fallon, and get back with us, debrief it, tell us what's working. And so we became the guinea pigs for a lot of the tactical usages that got employed. On the other hand, we were 4 days from deployment as a squadron when the armistice was signed in 1991. We were up, ready to go. We had everything packed up. We were going to be land-based from Riyadh, I think, cohabitating with the Marines because they had A-6 parts and they had A-6s there. And we were going to go out with them and do the combat thing. So we were the almost not quite made it A-6 squadron, at that time.
Yeah, so how did you actually feel about that? Were you up for going, or were you kind of glad it didn't happen?
Up for going. That was our mission. That's what we did.
Right. Okay.
When they asked for, ostensible volunteers, we all volunteered. We all said, yeah, we're going to go.
Right.
This is what we do.
I'd be terrified.
Happy to do it. And that leads to some interesting discussions on a strategic basis on why, unlike the Air Force and the Army, the big Navy, the regular U.S. Navy, chose not to activate either CAG 20 or CAG 30. They activated the transport guys, a slew of other units, but the air wings were not activated, unlike the Air Force, who activated guard wings and Air Force Reserve wings and stuff like that. But well above our pay grade. Yeah, we were frustrated because we had worked hard to set it all up. Uh, I don't think anybody was particularly, oh boy, glad I didn't go to war. Um,
Mm.
I mean, this is what the job is. This is what you recognize and accept what you're supposed to do. This is the mission. If you didn't want a mission, why did you join the Navy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a volunteer force. You didn't have to be put in. I didn't know of anyone who felt that way. I mean, that's a great question. But yeah, we were very motivated.